Well, good morning and welcome to the Grow Omaha show. Glad that you have joined us on this beautiful Saturday. Jeff Beals here at your service from NAI NP Dodge Commercial Real Estate Company. We're also brought to you by D&M Roofing, Omaha's premier commercial and residential roofing contractor. This is the only show around that talks about construction, business expansion, real estate development, the fun stuff that you're going to hear on the radio. And without any further ado, I'm going to introduce my co-host, a man who is rocking his 2005 era Grow Omaha polo shirt, Trenton Magid.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for noticing.
That's good. Yeah, where'd you dig that up?
We're going to have to start a selling merchandise online or something like that.
That's the old logo. That's the old logo. That one's been around a while.
Yeah, we need to step it up a little bit with the Grow Omaha merch.
Well, we've got some good retail news for you. I was at Nebraska Crossing last weekend, and there were some very interesting signs and photographs on a retail bay between Tecovas and Vineyard Vines for Peloton. You know Peloton. You've seen those television commercials for the advanced exercise equipment. Looks like a Peloton store coming into Nebraska Crossing. And so that's pretty exciting. And, of course, we always encourage you to get out there on the weekends. Rod Yates, our friend who runs Nebraska Crossing, he likes to say Nebraska Crossing owns Saturdays. And it is true because I was there last Saturday. It was busy. It was active. People were having fun. There were phenomenal deals to be had. And the other nice thing is, so many of those people that were there, in fact, anyone who has the fast cash option on their Nebraska Crossing app, their next app, they were getting 15% cash back on everything they purchased there at all of the stores. And you can have that too. So just go to your next app and click Fast Cash. If you haven't signed up, you'll put in your credit card information and then use that card, and you will get cash back that you can use at any of the stores.
You can hang out outside at the mall now without worried about being cold.
That's true. Yeah, the weather is the weather is nice. This March obviously can be up and down, but lately it's been pretty up. These have been nice temperatures.
We'll take it. Yeah, the snow melt's pretty slick.
Yeah, so maybe we'll luck out and have an early spring. Well, let's go into our development news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage. Eagle Mortgage Company knows mortgages. They've been in the business for about 30 years, helping you with your FHA, your VA, and conventional loans. And, of course, they always recommend that you go and stop and talk with their mortgage professionals or give them a call if you are even thinking about buying a new house. It's a crazy market out there, very competitive these days, so you want to make sure you get a pre-approval letter and know what you're doing in terms of your financing. You can find them online at eaglemortgagecompany.com. Well, Trenton, let's just kind of take a moment here at the beginning of our news to express our sympathies and condolences for a good friend of ours, Mayor Gene Stothert. The mayor has been really good to you and me. She appointed both of us at various points over the last 8 years to city boards and has been a friend. She lost her husband, Dr. Joe Stothert, yesterday, and we can only imagine what she must be going through and her family at this time.
Yeah, I think Omaha, the entire community, lost a good person, and Dr. Joe Stothert was definitely a champion of Omaha and huge supporter of Mayor Stothert, and it's not fun. It's horrible, and we wish her and her kids and her family the best, and we're all grieving right now, and so. It's a tough one.
Dr. Joe was here in this studio with us just a couple of weeks ago because the mayor was on. We always have her on about a couple times a year just talking about growth and development updates. Her husband, Dr. Joe Stothert, was here, and we had a chance to say hi to him. And certainly there are an incredible number of people walking around Omaha today who are only alive because Joe Stothert saved their lives. And so we certainly appreciate all of his contributions. And again, our sympathies and prayers to the entire Stothert family. Well, moving on to some happier news items. UNO, University of Nebraska at Omaha, has played its first game in the brand new Tal Anderson Field. This, along with the Connie Clausen softball field, is part of the new ball complex that they have. It is just west of Baxter Arena, almost a $24 million investment, and it looks absolutely big-time spectacular.
And you can see great aerials, recent aerials. Brad Williams, photography. Brad Williams, a frequent contributor to this show at the Grow Omaha Facebook page, really posted it. I'm sure he's on other media as well.
Yeah, you can find it on the Grow Omaha Facebook page, Grow Omaha Twitter account, and Grow Omaha Instagram account. Brad periodically rents helicopters, and he did that just yesterday. In fact, the photograph he took of Tal Anderson Field was while their first game was going on versus Creighton. And so,
Perfect.
Yeah, so you can not only see what it looks like, but the game was actually going on. So that's pretty cool. But a nice step forward for UNO athletics and a nice step forward for that entire Exarban area, which has been awesome, but is becoming even better every year. Well, not too far from Exarban Village is Crossroads. And if you've driven by there today,
Yep.
the old Dillard store is coming down.
Down goes Dillard's.
Yeah, and with a thud. That Dillard store is huge. It was one of those big 3-story flagship type department stores. And a lot of people may not remember, but it was an add-on to the original Crossroads. Yeah. Remember, the Crossroads originally had the Sears on the west, which was original, and then there was the Yonkers, and before that, Brandeis on the east, and then there was nothing on the north till they added that addition where that Dillard's went. But that's coming down.
It had a good run.
It had a nice run. The Crossroads had a 60-year run. If you think about it, that was there quite a while. Okay, some good news for people who love movies. You heard, perhaps, that Alamo Drafthouse Corporate announced Chapter 11 bankruptcy earlier this week, but the local franchisee who owns the 2 Alamo Drafthouse cinemas here in Omaha released a statement this week saying the local theaters are not bankrupt and they plan to reopen. So we hope that is the case because those are great places to go watch movies. And Trenton, a lot of people, I know you went to go see one not too long ago, but a lot of people are just dying to get back into movie theaters.
Yeah, I'm real excited about it. And I've already been a few times to the new ACX 12 Plus out on 204th between Q and Harrison, and with the Backlot restaurant. And the sound quality and just the technology there is amazing. So don't make it commonplace just to sit in your house and watch your big screen. See the entire theater experience and go support your local theaters.
Well, yeah, and that's just it. I mean, you get a way better experience at the theater, and we want to support those local theaters. I know you and I, Trenton, are both big fans of that new ACX 12 that opened up on 204th Street with the Backlot restaurant. I don't know if they're showing movies there or not. Maybe they're okay.
Check it, because I know on Tuesdays where they have, Tuesdays is a big night for the movies, and then Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. But check, and hopefully they'll come back full time. And I'm talking citywide. I think you'd have to go to like Council Bluffs if you want to see a movie during the week these days. And so I think a lot of it has to just do with the new content from the entertainment industry and all the production. And most people don't want to go see Elf, which was offered during the holidays at a lot of theaters, or you throwback movies and Goonies and stuff like that. So there's some great movies out there to go see.
Yeah, that'll only take you so far. But yeah, and it sounds like this problem will be over soon because of all the progress that we as a nation are making with vaccinations.
Yeah, I'll give you one. We went and saw Nomadland with Frances McDormand and Omaha's own Mary Kerrigan, Tim Kerrigan's daughter, and Julie Kerrigan Collins. Julie Collins. Mary Kerrigan is Omaha's finest, and she was like assistant director on that, and it won Best Director. And so Nomadland is an interesting flick. Check it out.
Well, the Sarpy County Economic Development Corporation held its annual meeting last month, and we thought you might kind of find this interesting. The Economic Development Corporation there in Sarpy County worked on several projects that totaled $286 million in capital investment, and that represented about 1,020 new jobs. The landed projects included the R&R Realty Warehouse Building 3, a 300,000 square foot warehouse in Papillion, southwest of Highways 50 and 370, and then the major Amazon Center, which they have listed at 2.7 million square feet. That is on the northeast corner of Highways 50 and 370. They also talked about SimStar's flight simulator training facility for E4B pilots in La Vista, and a light industrial and flex space for Nebraska warehouse, about 100,000 square feet in Springfield. So Sarpy County always, among the fastest growing counties in the state, usually the fastest growing county in the state, and a lot of industrial property that has been added to that county this year. And I think you're going to see, we know for a fact, a heck of a lot more in 2021.
No question.
And that is your development news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage, eaglemortgagecompany.com. Well, speaking of Eagle Mortgage, we're going to bring on Holly Schneiderwind and Stephanie Beals from that organization into the studio next segment. We're going to ask them about this crazy housing and housing finance market. They're busy over there at Eagle Mortgage, and there's just so much activity in that residential real estate market. So you're going to find that interesting. Stay with us for that. Later in the show, Jay Noddle of Noddle Development is going to be joining us on the show. And then, of course, the lightning round by Turner Construction after that. Loaded docket, lots to talk about. You're listening to Jeff Beals and Trenton Maggot on Grow Omaha, brought to you by NAI, NP Dodge Commercial Real Estate, and D&M Roofing. Back in a moment on News Radio 1110 KFAB. And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals and Trenton Maggot here with you from NAI, NP Dodge Commercial Real Estate Company. We're also brought to you by D&M Roofing. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about the residential home market, and we have some experts with us from Eagle Mortgage. Holly Schneiderwind is the Eagle Mortgage Company proprietor and president, and with her is Stephanie Beals, someone I know really well who works with Holly. Ladies, welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Good morning. Thank you.
I'm glad you
Welcome
guys
back.
are here. Yeah. So now I happen to know that Eagle Mortgage right now is about as busy as it has ever been, and when I talk to our colleagues at the NP Dodge Residential Company, they say, "My goodness, there's such demand for houses." Can you give us an idea of what's going on with the loan volume that you are seeing, and maybe what's driving all of that activity?
So, yes, we are the busiest we have been. I don't know if ever is the term, and I've been doing it for 28 years. So it's a little crazy right now as far as what's driving it. Number one, rates. Rates are awesome. I mean, they're at an all-time low. We've seen a little uptick here in the last month. Crazy market, but they're still great rates. So number one, volume, I would say we're refinancing a lot. We've got people who are debt consolidating, cashing out, just lowering their interest rate, lowering their term, and not doing much to their payment. So we've gotten a lot of that. Ask Steph. She's been helping a lot at the office to keep us sane. And then purchasing. So now we're down to the purchase market time. And I think we're going to talk a little bit about that too, just making sure people are ready when they're ready to purchase. You got to be ready right now because inventory's low and you get a lot of people out there, low inventory. It is a seller's market. So.
What is the timeline, and how has the timeline changed as far as putting together the package, and how long does the process take if when people are ready to buy a house?
So from very, very start, is that what you're asking? So
yeah, so someone says, okay, I need to get a new house, or I need to refinance or whatever, just so they have reasonable expectations.
Well, if you're buying, first of all, you got to get pre-approved. So you're going to have to do either an online application, call us, do it over the phone, come on in. We're still doing in-person appointments if that's how somebody wants to do it. Not a lot, but So then by the time somebody's pre-approved, okay, now you go out, find a property. You make your offer. I don't know how many you're going to go through before you get an offer accepted. Then once you have that property, it's probably 45-ish days, 45 to 60 days to get closed. We've done it in 30, but it depends upon the appraisal. So we can underwrite it, get it all ready, do the paperwork, but sometimes we're sitting waiting for an appraisal.
Are people still focusing on refinancing right now because the rates are low, or is it mostly just people that are purchasing houses, which is causing Eagle Mortgage to be so busy right now?
We are doing a lot with refinancing right now. So there's still people that are looking to refinance into a lower rate. And then another thing that we're seeing a lot of with the housing market being as tight as it is, there's a lot of people that are doing cash outs and fixing up the property that they have.
So they basically someone's paid off their house or paid off a big chunk of their house, and they can pull. I believe they can consult your tax advisor, obviously, but you can pull money out tax free, I believe.
Okay, well, I am not the tax advisor, and I always tell people that. I know the tax laws changed regarding grabbing equity in your home and what technically you can do, so I defer to my CPA or
Right.
tell somebody to talk to their CPA for that. So.
But it's I can totally see, Stephanie, that I know that we spent a lot of money last year, new roof, new windows, new deck, and that's why Menards and Home Depot and those are going strong.
Exactly. And then with the housing market exploding the way it is, there's a lot of homeowners that have more equity in their homes than they did previously.
So we're talking with Holly Schneiderwind and Stephanie Beals from Eagle Mortgage. And one of the things that Trent and I are trying to get our arms wrapped around and understand is who is driving all of this demand for new houses and where are they coming from. So from a Grow Omaha perspective, we would be thrilled if you would say, oh, it's a whole bunch of people from Chicago and Michigan and California and New York, and they're coming here in droves despite our bad weather.
Maybe not California.
And they all want to live here. But then we're concerned, well, maybe it's just a bunch of people moving out of their apartments or out of mom's basement or something like this.
That's good too, though.
Can you give us an idea? Because
What's your feel for it?
The one thing I keep hearing that the starter houses keep selling, and yet our apartment occupancies, I think, are still pretty solid. Any idea?
You know what? I'm not sure. I am not seeing a lot of transferring people in. At least the loans we're doing, we're not seeing a lot of move-ins to the area. So people moving around, the first-time home buyers. But I think what's driving it too is just the low inventory. I mean, people aren't moving. Like I said, if we're refinancing them at a 2% probably not going to move anytime soon. So number one, you've got less houses on the market because people just aren't moving around. Redoing their houses, we're seeing a lot of that now, like Steph said, taking the money out. Oh, well, we're just going to do an addition or upgrade, and we're going to stay put where we're at, pay it off. But then new construction, so that was down. And with the lower inventory, but now I think that is back. I mean, we've seen a lot of new construction happening.
We're getting some major home builders moving into Omaha, and I know my friends at Celebrity Homes do an amazing job, and they're always busy, but it's amazing that the houses that we see going up, even with lumber prices jumping all over the place and really going up, it affects it. But just like the commercial market, where we could all do a lot more business if there was more inventory and if people could find what they need, because there's a lot of money in our market. It's a strong economy. Probably the same thing. You do a lot more business if there was inventory.
Well, that'd be true too. But I did hear, was it the millennials? I'm terrible with the age. So the 33-year-olds right now, whatever generation, millennials, that if you look at the growth or birth charts during that time, right now we're at the highest, or that was 33-year-olds, and the next 3 years that only grows. So the first-time home buyers coming on the market is up there too. So now we got a combination of a bunch of more buyers, less inventory, and hopefully now we're starting to see some construction going on.
Are you seeing higher down payments because there's a lot of money in the market and it's more competitive to buy a house? So So
No inspections. So people are going in
scary.
over 20,000
Not
over
recommended.
plus over list. No inspections required. Paying sellers closing costs. Non-refundable. I got them the other day. Non-refundable earnest money. Any trick to try to get the seller to take their offer.
What's amazing to me is if in commercial, because every property is so unique, that if we sell for greater than asking price and it's not a competitive situation, our seller's probably thinking that we price it too low. And it's interesting. I know it's a science, and I know they have a whole system in place that if they get 10 offers on a residential property, they put limits. They keep it fair, hopefully, and make it happen. But it's a crazy market, Jeff.
It is indeed, and it'll be fascinating to see how it all plays out. Hey, real fast before we go, for those people who are thinking about jumping into this crazy game right now, we always talk about that pre-approval letter because, like you said, if you want an inspection, you might not get the house. If you don't have a pre-approval letter, you might not get the house. What do people have to do to get a pre-approval letter?
Well, the first step is to either call our office or go online, fill out an application, and you will meet with one of our mortgage loan originators, and we'll need some financial income, bank statement documentation from you. And from there, we will discuss with you what you are looking to spend and what you qualify for. And then at that point, we'll put together the pre-approval letter for you. And then you take that to the realtor that you were working with, and they will present that along with your offer when you put an offer on a home.
It's got to be a real pre-approval letter. It can't be one of those like photocopied bootleg ones, like when kids are getting fake IDs with someone else's birth certificate.
Ours are very official, Trenton.
Okay.
Can't forge them. All righty. Holly and Stephanie, we appreciate you joining us. Also, thank you for your sponsorship of Grow Omaha. We've got a great partnership. That's Holly Schneiderwind and Stephanie Beals from Eagle Mortgage, eaglemortgagecompany.com. Going to take our middle of the break show, and when we come back, Jay Noddle from Noddle Development, Noddle Companies, will be joining us. A bunch of things to talk about with Jay. Action-packed show. Stay with us. You're listening to Jeff and Trenton on News Radio 1110 KFAB. And we're back. Grow Omaha, brought to you by D&M Roofing and NAI NP Dodge. Jeff Beals, Trenton Magid here. And this is the Real Estate Development Spotlight brought to you by Noddle Companies. And we are going to bring on the head of Noddle Companies, Jay Noddle, is with us on the hotline. Good morning, Jay, and welcome back to the show.
Good morning, gentlemen. Beautiful day in Omaha today.
Oh, it sure is. It's good to hear your voice, and these are very exciting times in our city, both in terms of the projects your company has underway and so many other real estate projects that are happening in town.
You're right. I don't know, at least in my career, I don't know of a time when there has been as much both underway and planned to start soon. So it's great. Omaha may actually benefit a little bit from what's happened with the pandemic. I think there'll be a more activity here because business is looking to relocate from some of the major business centers.
Well, Jay, I'm sorry, did I cut you off?
No, go ahead.
Jay, one of the developments that your company is working on is at Village Point with some medical buildings, a new medical complex. What's the latest on that project?
Well, we had a busy week last week. The City Council gave final approval for the next building on the medical campus at Village Point. And so that's a pretty good-sized building, about 120,000 square feet. It will be used by Nebraska Medicine, and hopefully we'll be able to start construction sometime in May.
So that'll be followed by – go ahead.
No, we're just excited about that, and there could be a fourth building there in the future.
And then is there also plans for a couple parking garages as well?
When the second new building, which would be the fourth building overall, is constructed, then at that time there'll be some roadway changes south of Burke, and a parking structure will be built. So that won't happen initially.
We're talking with Jay Noddle from Noddle Companies. If we can shift to a different part of town, we've talked in the past about plans that your company has for a residential project in the Blackstone neighborhood. Perhaps you can bring us up to speed with that, Jay.
Well, it was a busy week for that project as well. We are going to build a relatively small little condominium project at 38th and Dewey. It's only going to have 6 residences in it, but I think they're going to be really, really nice. And that project received its full approval from the planning board this last week. And we expect the city council action will take place in maybe less than a month. And there again, we hope to start construction in May or June. So we're excited about that. It's such a great neighborhood.
As the head of the Urban Core Committee that we've talked about on the show before, and the big talk about the next project, which is a huge expansion to the Nebraska Medicine area down there, talk a little bit about just, you've got the Blackstone project. That area has always been hot, but it's on fire now, isn't it?
Well, it certainly is. And as the next project continues to gather more momentum and plans start to get solidified, the area is only going to become, in my opinion, more and more popular, more and more active. Over time, the Med Center can add 6,000 or 8,000 additional jobs. Now, that'll occur over a long period of time. But if you think about absorbing that kind of those kind of employment opportunities, that's going to make a big difference in our whole region, and in particular in the center part of the city. Many of the folks that will wind up being involved there are going to want to live pretty close to work. So we can expect office space and residential and retail and entertainment kinds of projects to start and to continue on, I think, over the course of the next decade. It's exciting.
You're going to need to build more than 6 units.
We sure are. We sure are. Well, there may have to be a handful of projects.
Jay, before we let you go, we're wondering if maybe you could kind of give us an update about some of the amenities coming to Exarban Village. We've mentioned a few of them in the past, but I know that's always changing. What's on the docket at Exarban?
There's more coming in the area of the park north of the Interrail, north of the HDR building. There's a big greenhouse coming late in the spring that'll be used by Kinghorn Gardens as a working greenhouse, but also be available at times for little events. And then there's an Airstream trailer coming that will sit out in that same area and serve the area where the greenhouse is, the dog park, and the park itself as a little concession stand, and hopefully we'll be approved for a liquor license, and if that's the case, then beer and wine will be out there too, and it's really going to help to kind of round out the area, and at least outdoors there will be something for everyone, all ages and all different days of the week and evenings. And then, the new thing that just happened yesterday, UNO played their first baseball game in their new stadium right here in Exarban Village. So awful lot going on, lots of great outdoor amenities, and we're really looking forward to this spring, summer, and fall.
Yeah, that new baseball complex and softball complex for UNO is absolutely beautiful. Jay, I really appreciate you joining us this morning, just bringing us up to speed with a few of these projects. And, of course, we appreciate your company being an important sponsor of Grow Omaha.
Well, it's our pleasure. We think you guys have a great show, and we hope the public enjoys it as much as we do.
Well, we appreciate that, Jay, and hope you have a wonderful, beautiful weather weekend. And we'll have you back on the show in the not-too-distant future.
Love to do it. Take care, everyone, and stay safe.
Thanks.
All right, Jay Noddle, the chairman and CEO of Noddle Companies, an Omaha-based full-service real estate development company. And you can reach that company at noddlecompanies.com. So we are going to take our final break of the show, and when we come back, it will be the lightning round by Turner Construction. So get your paper and pencil ready. Your cocktail and dinner party fodder is on the docket next. You're listening to Jeff and Trenton on Grow Omaha, brought to you by D&M Roofing and NAI NP Dodge on News Radio 1110 KFAB. And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals and Trenton Magid at your service. We are brought to you by D&M Roofing and NAI NP Dodge. And this is the lightning round, and it is sponsored by Turner Construction. Turner is building for the future with more than 150 full-time Turner employees in this area. And of course, nationwide, Turner is the number one builder for healthcare, commercial, education, and pharmaceutical manufacturing. Here in Omaha, they are doing all sorts of projects, from as big as the massive Papillion data center, which is off the charts large, to projects just for locally owned companies that are making better spaces for their employees and their customers. And we recommend that if you are making this construction decisions, that you reach out to Turner, because they won't let you down. No one around has the resources, the know-how, and the track record as Turner does in the construction world. Well, speaking of construction, it is really going vertical on Pacific Point Mixed-Use Building. This is near 204th and Pacific, in front of the Family Fair shopping, or rather supermarket. This will have a rooftop pool shared by apartment residents and the bar. And as we said when we first found out about it,
what could go wrong?
What could possibly go wrong by having bar patrons
Like
have access
Vegas and Elkhorn
to a swimming pool? Plans call for new construction at 3863 Farnham Street in the Blackstone District. An existing building there caught fire about 2 years ago, and if you drive by it, you can still see the smoky char above one of the windows, which is kind of a negative.
Let's keep it.
Project calls for demolishing the existing building, and the rebuild will be a 2-story commercial building with multiple restaurants. And the architectural rendering shows second-floor outdoor deck space for dining above Farnham Street.
Nice.
So I think you can expect even more restaurants and or bars in that Blackstone district. Further downtown, our company held an open house this week at the Redfield building. John Meyer from NAI NP Dodge is representing that property. The Redfield building is downtown at 19th and Howard Street. It's a 4-story building over a century old, and 50% of that space will be occupied by Modus, a co-working company that provides high-end office suites and other value-added services for office tenants.
That was Ernest Leeds Buick dealership.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, so when you hear like the Lead Foundation or the Lead this or the Lead that.
Now, I think he made most of his money not in selling Buicks, but he made most of his money in Las Vegas buying land. He was kind of an economist, I heard, that figured out where the interstate was going to have off-ramps and things like that. And you go to Vegas and the UNLV campus, you'll see the Lead this and Lead that as well.
So Modus, the co-working company in the Redfield building, will open April 5th. It'll occupy the 2nd and the 3rd floors. They are also looking, though, for a 1,700 square foot coffee shop and a 6,000 square foot restaurant user on the 1st floor. And then they have space for about 12,000 square feet office user on the 4th floor. It's already white box ready to go.
Nice building.
Yeah, quite. Did you go to the open house?
No, I thought about it, though.
Okay. You were there. You were there in person, or rather in spirit.
I had one of the
if not in
bagels
person.
that were left over from the open house because I wasn't there.
Good thinking. Speaking of looking for restaurant space, Ahi Sushi Ramen at 124th and West Center is looking for additional locations around town. Colton Luxinger in our office is repping them, looking for 2,500 square foot spaces. So if you like Ahi Sushi and Ramen, you're probably going to get more places to go enjoy it. Westgate Bank plans to open a branch office at 177th and West Maple Road.
Yeah, they were represented by Jorge Sotolongo in our office, and that represents one of the last pieces of the Thompson Mile, which Jerry Slusky and I led a group from 22 years ago where we did the Walmart Super Center. Dillon Brothers bought a bunch of land out there, and the Thompson Mile, now I can say that we're sold out. It's really only 3/4 of a mile along West Maple. So sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen.
So
However,
for 22 years, the name was kind of misleading.
still is, and but we returned a good return to our investors who believed in us, never complained, and it was a very successful development, and it helped. From the day I started talking to Walmart to the day we closed was 3.5 years, ladies and gentlemen. So if you want to get into development, start early, be patient, and
have a cast iron stomach.
yes. But no, it was fun, and we appreciate everyone that's part of the Thompson Mile.
Construction bids are now being accepted for a new student housing building at Creighton University. It's going to be a 5-story building southeast of 24th and Burt. Looks really nice on the construction documents that I saw. And if I remember correctly, I think that might be for freshmen, maybe a freshman dorm or something like that. And then other construction bids being accepted right now for Journey Church in Gretna, 32,000 square foot building at 203rd and Husker Drive. I have no idea where Husker Drive is. I've never heard of that. I mean, I know what the Huskers are.
Right.
But I can't say I know where Husker Drive is.
It's right next to Cornway.
Spectrum Paint will occupy 4,000 square feet at Standing Stone Plaza along Highway 6 in Gretna, and that should be open by the end of March. Omaha Pediatric Therapy has moved into a 4,600 square foot space at 155th and Ruggles. Share the same space as Tanner's, so you can get your pediatric therapy, then go to Tanner's and get a beer afterwards. And then also had a little bit of news that we wanted to share with you about a residential housing project. 176 acres for phase 1 of a new housing subdivision to be known as Oak Leaf on the southeast corner of 72nd and Cape Hart Road. This is quite a ways south of Shadow Lake Town Center. Legacy Homes will be 4 phases altogether, 427 acres of residential and commercial development. One of the things I think is very interesting about that is if you ever drive around some of the new development areas way south in Papillion on that 72nd corridor, on that 84th corridor, well, it's amazing how far south it's getting.
Yes.
I mean, it is really going down there. And the other thing about Papillion is the whole area kind of between Papillion traditional and out by Warner Park really filling in as well. Well, the music is playing, which means you and I are out of here. I'm Jeff Beals.
And I'm Trenton Magid.
You have been listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by D&M Roofing and NAI NP Dodge, and the Lightning Round, brought to you by Turner Construction. We really hope you'll be with us next week at 9 o'clock right here on KFAB. If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.